everybody, welcome to November's bullet journal. Can you believe that we have done the bullet journal on Patreon for one whole year this month? November was our first month last year, so amazing if you've been with us for the full journey. I know a couple of you have been, and I hope you've really enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed it, because it's kind of kept me on track, keeping up with my bullet journal. So thank you for keeping me accountable. This is great. So this month I've done something a little bit different because I was really struggling with ideas, and I was actually heavily inspired by another bullet journaler this time. So Amanda, and I've tagged her because this is very, very similar, but what I loved was the movement of the leaves. So the other day it was so windy and rainy here, and it was literally just like a leaf snowstorm of leaves just falling from the trees, and I loved the movement with all of these dotted lines. And who knows what November's going to bring, because it's actually really warm. I don't know if we're going to need our hats, gloves and scarves, but we've got some knitwear and a lovely mug of tea down here, and all of the things that remind us of autumn. So let's have a look what colours I've used. I've got this kind of dark yellow, which we've used quite a few times, so you might have this in your stock. Saddle brown, which again we've used quite a lot, you might have this in stock. A darker brown, and this kind of orangey colour. I will list all of the colour references for the Tombows in the comments as usual. We've got our trusty hexagon gel pen, and of course my hexagon pencil, because I just love it so much. And I prefer to use our monthly stamp and stamper set, but you can use the template for doing your monthly layout. So let's have a look at the templates. Let's move those to one side. So it's all in black and white this month. Oh, focus in, let's zoom in. So we've got your cover page, you've got a blank, and you've also got your black and white. You can use any colour scheme that you like, actually. Why not? I'd love to see some different colour schemes other than the kind of tonal brown one that I've done. It would be lovely to see. You've got your week to view with some kind of knitwear details in there. And obviously your dailies with just a little nod to the little elements. And the one thing that alerted me to this kind of theme was the mood tracker, because I really loved the idea. So here's just a basic tracker page, but the mood tracker is a giant scarf. So there's actually 30 sections. You can colour them just in a stripe. I'm actually going to do mine empty without the stripes in it and fill it in with a kind of, I don't know, Fair Riley type pattern. If you didn't know, I used to be a knitwear designer, so I thought I'd go a bit kind of creative with mine and leave it blank, but for the sake of ease, I've added in. So my trusty little doodle book. Let's skip past my little note page there. Getting a blank page, and I'll go through some of the techniques that I'm using before we do the full template. Just get a bit of a clearer view for you. So you can, as always, trace through the template, or you can come up with your own ideas using this kind of quick tutorial. So there's a couple of different shape leaves that we've looked at. So one of them is a kind of oaky shape. So all I did was a wiggle like this and a really basic colour in. Your other leaf shape, you've got a kind of maple leaf, which is a bit like a kind of star, but I just kept it really simple. And I kind of like the messy look with the mismatched outlines. And then the other shape leaf is just like a zigzaggy, like a rough. Oh, that went a bit funny. You can always just add in on this one. It's really not that worrying. So just to show you, these are kind of leaves that are in my garden. So the inspiration. I've got quite a lot of oak trees around, so oak leaves quite a lot. And then this other kind of jaggedy edge there, you see? That's the kind of idea we're going for, but we're going really rough. We're not being too careful about it. So then I like the idea of giving it a bit of movement. So we just go in with a dotted line. That's all we do. You can do as many loop-the-loops as you want. Dot it through. And once you get to your leaf, you just put in a stalk in. You can give it some detail and outline it. And this is where I like where it doesn't quite outline perfectly. Let me zoom in so you can see. Yeah, just so it's mismatched. I don't know why I like it, I do. And then we'll just put some details in on this guy. And he can be blowing in from this side. And then again, just give it a rough outline. And the same on this guy. I really like it when it misses. Just looks really sketchy. I don't know, I like it. And then taking him out like that. So there is our kind of versions of leaves that we're going to do. Now, the other thing we've got is a scarf that's kind of blowing in. And you can, again, you can trace this from my template or you can give it a go yourself. And what you want is like a wave, and then that follows underneath. But what you need to do is kind of make it a bit 3D. So where that bends, that goes around like that, and then you need to join it from this side. And then you've just got tassels on the end. And there is a really simple wavy scarf. You can do you could do this striped, you could do, should we do it striped? Let's just do it as a stripe. Really simple. Quite a nice stripe. And then our tassels are going to be sketchy tassels. And then just go in with your fine liner and give it a bit of detail. So what you can do is give it an outline. But again, I like it really kind of sketchy, missing off, and then give it some more tail bits. And then even if you wanted, you could go in and you could add some kind of nod to knit if you wanted. Let me zoom in on that for you. All I'm doing is like a cross hatch. I really like cross hatch. You could just do it like that. It just gives a bit of texture and gives the look of a knit. If you wanted, you don't have to at all. Or you could put some zigzags in there. Give it kind of like a Nordic-y inspired look. Up to you. So there's a scarf. And in the same way, our hat. I prefer on these just to do a quick pencil outline, just to give me the shape. So for the hat, you've got a semicircle, and then you've got like a block at the bottom, and then you want a pom-pom. I'll zoom in. And it works much better with the pens if you do your colour first. So say we're going to have an orange base. Maybe we've got some brown zigzags. Do whatever you fancy. This is where the knitwear designer in me comes out. Get all creative. Or not, or just do it striped, or just do it solid. You can totally just do it solid. And then you want to go over, oh, I tell you what, pom-pom. How I did the pom-pom, I'm going to zoom in with your brush tip of your end, similar to these tail ends of the scarf. Just give it really kind of light starbursty, and there's a pom-pom. And then you want to go over it with your fine liner pen, and then give it a rim, and then add in a bit of rib detail, putting the straight lines in. I'll just move that into view. And if you wanted, you can just add a bit of light sketching in there. We can add in some stripes in there if you wanted. You can just kind of go over those, whatever you fancy. And there's our hat. Let's get another bit of blank paper to do our gloves. And the same thing, I'm just going to do a simple mitten shape. So you want a semicircle and a thumb, and then it's going to come down to a band, a bit like a boxing glove, and that's all we need. And then you can have it matching. You can do like some matching stripes maybe. Add a little zigzag in, or maybe some diamonds, maybe something like that. And then don't forget, we want our rib section at the bottom as well to be. I'm actually going to put another bit of peach up the top there, and then you can go over it once you've done it in pen. Go over just a bit sketchy and add the detail in afterwards, because it just stops the black pen, because especially it's a gel pen, stops it from smudging. It gives you just a bit of a cleaner line. And I'm just going to give it a bit of texture up here, add in a bit of that, give it a bit of, I can just outline this zigzag, just make it really kind of doodly, sketchy. What else do we have? We've got a pumpkin. I think that pumpkin in the mug is probably the next shapes. Oh, and the acorn. So let's have a look at the pumpkin. You want to start with a kind of oval shape. So sketch an oval and a stalky bit. And then you want to come down from the stalk in like, there we go. And then we can go through with our orangey pen to make it look a bit more pumpkin-y. And once we're happy with that, let's put a brown stalk in. There we go. We can go over with our fine liner, and again I really like it when it just doesn't quite match the colouring in. It just looks really sketchy. You could give it a bit of shading if you want, and then give it, there we go, there's our pumpkin. What else? What about our mug? So let's go back to pencil just to get the shaping right. Sorry, I'm using light today. So you've got a circle top, and really you can just think of it as that kind of half circle, and then an ear shape. And I actually had a tea bag coming out, so it's a cup of tea, but you might want to do a coffee, totally up to you. For this one I wanted white spots, so what I did was I drew the kind of white spots in first, just like that, and then filled in around the shape. Give it a really rough, because we're going to do the full template in a minute, but this gives you a really good idea, because what I'll do is I'll speed this up on the full template. This gives you a really clear, concise idea. That's actually much better than the one I did on my actual on my actual thing. I'm going to put some brown in the middle there. That's our tea or our coffee. And then again, you can go over with your fine liner. So you've got your kind of mug shape, and you can go over your circles just to define them a bit. Really sketchy. I just love keeping it sketchy. And then your tea bag, whatever shape you want to do it, hanging out the top. The next, I think the only other shape we've not done is the acorn. So for the acorn I'm using, well, just since we've done all the others in pencil first, let's just do a quick pencil. So we've got a kind of hat, a hat shape, and it's got a little stalk, and then it's got a dome underneath it, and then this then has a kind of a different kind of longer shaped dome underneath. So what you want is the underneath bit to be in a lighter brown, if you want to kind of keep it true to looking like an acorn, and then a darker brown on the top. His little hat. You could do with a little face. It's a cute hat. And then, as with all of the others, go in with your fine liner. You can do whatever you fancy here. You can make it really textured, you can give it some ridges, or you can go to town, whatever you fancy. You can give it a bit of shading. We're all good there. So that covers all of our shapes. And then I think there is actually like a little twiggy branch. Actually, I've missed this one off. So, but we've done so many of these twiggy branches, haven't we? We know what we're doing here. We're just gonna, that ended up being a bit more like a berry, but you know, these things happen, doesn't really matter. Simple little twiggy leafy shape. So let's zoom out, you can see my little doodle pages, and let's get stuck into the template. So if you haven't used our templates before, there's a really easy hack, which is to rub a pencil across the back, and then once you place this onto your page and draw over, it will leave a little bit of an imprint, not a lot, but just enough for you to use it as a guide. And that's a really good way to make sure your placement is good and that the page is filled and it's balanced, and then you can go in with the detail. So let me quickly sketch this out. Okay, we're kind of hitting sunset, so I've got this strange lighting across, but we're just going to have to work with what we have today, because with the kids on half term, I'm just going to have to get things done when I can. So I've transferred over, and I'll give you an idea. It's a very faint, very faint idea of where we're going with things. What I'm going to do today is a little bit backwards. Don't usually do my title until last, but I'm going to put it in first, just so it's done and I know where I need to be for the rest of the spread. So if you're tracing over, I say this all the time, but it's just slow, steady. You can lift the pen off in between slow, steady movements, and November is in. I'm going to use my stamper. I'm going to do this now actually, and then we can fill in. So we've got a Tuesday is a start day, so I've changed my stamper set. We sell these in the shop, and you can use your discount code, which you do have. If you don't know where it is, give me a shout, I'll send it to you. I'm just rubbing off 31 because 30 days in November, and we're going to go in with the stamp. So that's done, and then I know where everything else is going for the rest of the spread. So I am going to start with, I think I'm going to start with simple shapes. So I'm going in with the pumpkin, really simple colouring in. And I think what I'm going to do is just add in all of the colour where I can, and then come back for adding in pen afterwards. So easy one to do is your kind of leaf shapes, get them in. have a little think about balancing the colours as well. So if you've got some yellow over here, maybe you want to add in some yellow down here just to balance that out. And also try and just like aesthetically, so it's not all in the same place. I'm going to go in with that mid saddle brown on this kind of twiggy leafy shape here. I've actually really enjoyed this spread. I got a bit stuck because I just was really like didn't know what to do for November. I wasn't feeling very inspired, I must admit. First time ever. So as I was looking through Pinterest is a really great resource for anything bullet journal. Just type in what you're looking for and I swear to God you'll find it. It's so easy to use. And yeah, so I just typed in November and this was a really popular one. So which is why I wanted to tag the original person, because normally I would come up with my own designs and my own ideas, and this one really was quite, it's not the same, it's a little bit different, but you can see it's definitely inspired by a different spread. So I just have to give credit where credit's due there, and then see how we feel next month. Get the creative juices flowing. I think with having like half term and having family visiting, everything's just a bit of a knock-on effect. I'm just going to do didn't think about that one, that brown leaf over there, because I've got the acorn. Just going to keep checking that we're still on. And I've got another acorn down here. So yeah, it was a strange month this month. Not to feel massively inspired. I think I get kind of quite drawn into the season that we're doing, but then, you know, once we've just done a whole year's worth, and you know, we're gonna struggle now because, you know, I've done an Easter type spread and I've done a Christmas spread, and you know, I've got to keep it fresh. What's new? What's the next one I'm gonna do? Also, if you've got any ideas and or you've seen something and you're like, oh, I'd really love us to do that on Journal Club, then just ping it over, because I'd love that as well. If there was something that you'd like to do, let me know, and we'll get it worked in somehow. Okay, so what else have I got in terms of leaves still left? I've got something over here, so that mid brown is missing over here. And then what else? Oh, got some little acorns up here. That mid brown goes there too. On the acorn, fill in the acorn. This is where following the template can help, because it's already balanced out for you. You don't need to massively think where things are going. You just need to work on your colours and getting your colours balanced right. So I've got a hat and my scarf. I think that kind of covers most of my leaves. Oh, there's a little leaf over here. Let's do him in there. And then we've got the mug. I'll zoom in. We've got the mug and the kind of knitted hats. I'm gonna do the gloves down here. So they're gonna have that yellow trim. And then I'm just gonna keep it simple. What colour am I gonna do? I'm gonna do them peach, this peachy colour. I'm just gonna keep these ones simple, just so you can see. You can totally do that and not worry about it. I'm going to do the mug in brown because I've got quite a lot of yellow over in this corner, so let's do that in that mid saddle. I think it's saddle brown the colour's called. Let's do your mug shape, give it a little ear on the side. You want to be able to see. Actually, now what we're going to do might leave it white inside, because Can't really do like a coffee colour for the tea or coffee inside now because the mug's brown. Unless I do a black coffee, we could do that, couldn't we? Could do black coffee. Let's do that. Always in for the coffees. Let's give it a... There we go. It's a good morning brew. Okay, so then we've got the scarf to work on up here, and I'm going to use, let's use the brown. So let's say we've got some kind of stripes towards the end, and maybe some dark brown tassels. And then what else? Or maybe again, let's keep it simple and show you how to do it with it coloured in solid. Let's go for this like mustard shape. You don't have to do a pattern at all. You can keep it solid if you want to keep it simple. It'll make sense when we come back and do our outline. So our hat, in the kind of same vein, look, let's keep the hat solid as well, but I think it would be really nice to do it in white. So I'm just going to give it a, oh, I didn't want that brown, oops. I want to give it a mid-brown base and then a brown pom-pom. And I think that's all of our things coloured in. Kind of looks a little bit strange at the moment because we've not done the pen outline, but it'll all make sense when I do the pen outline. So for the pen outline, I'm going to zoom in, and what I'll do is I'll speed it up for you, and I will keep it zoomed in so you can see the outline building and coming together as we go along. Okay, so there we go. That's all filled in. And you can go as patterned or as basic and coloured in as you want to go. Also, what I did add in on mine was just like a couple of kind of gushes of wind. So kind of like that kind of vibe. If you wanted to add in a bit more movement, some kind of blusty blows. And that's it for this month. As always, I would really love to see what you get up to. I'd love to see if you do some different colorways on this and any other kind of patterns that you do on your scarves and your hats and your mittens. So tag me in anything that you do. I'd love to see it. And we'll be back here next month and let's see what December has in store. Have a great month, guys. Take care.